for the people of Iowa who truly want honest results from votes to have a few that manipulate the straw poll vote for their own gain ought to make the people in Iowa very, very upset and very, very concerned about who's telling what to whom. And they should be upset. They should be mad. And they should want to kick these kind of people out and get somebody in there who's honest.
Again, Wayne Paul joining us from Texas. Wayne, though, you cannot debate that a bunch of ballots disappeared. People call in the votes. They'd get changed. Obviously, something went on here. The Republican leadership counted it in secret, I guess, so they could get away with this. And now they admit it's a fraud, but they say, still, we're going with these guys. I mean, this is bizarre. And again, the media is not even pointing out how bizarre it is. Why do you, I mean, there's not only fraud here, Wayne, obviously. What do you think of them not even mentioning your brother as if he even exists?
Well, the major media has attempted to do that since the last go-round 4 years ago. I think the other thing that frustrates me about Iowa is that before the Iowa straw poll vote was taken, I heard on a YouTube where one of the state Republican people stated, and I heard her voice, can't tell you who it was, but stated that they always consider changing votes to the final, before the final vote, because that's just the way they operate.
Yeah, they had a media analyst on Fox and on the news, but she works with Fox, say 2 days before, the state officials aren't going to let Ron Paul win. They're going to handle it.
Right.
And then we played that clip here, and then I understand the campaign doesn't want to look like sore losers, but when there's fraud going on out in the open, I mean, I'm glad that your brother is now suing the people that made this video who claim they work for Huntsman to make your brother look like he doesn't like Asians. I mean, look what they did to your nephew, Rand, claiming he worships Buddha and kidnaps women and isn't a doctor.
Yep. It's just, unfortunately, Alex, it appears to be a sign of our time that those that have the ability to manipulate results for certain people's benefit, it's that the true, honest, conservative, libertarian individual in America is not seeing what's really happening. You know, even after the last debate, they showed on CNN or Fox or one of them the fact that on Twitter, Ron had positive results on all 4 or 5 issues that were spoken to. But they seemed to brush that off, that was no big deal.
But normally they say Twitter is the main indicator of just sheer numbers. He was beating them all. He's the main front runner. And notice that these ballots disappeared in key young people in college areas that were polling more than 50% for Ron Paul, Wayne.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, look, if they'll steal his time and lie about him and ignore him and tell us that they're doing this because they're deciding for us, of course they'll engage in election fraud too. Do people think they're just going to stop at lying about him and doing all this in the media? No, they're going to go all the way. And they did. I mean, we've got fraud here, but no investigation is going to happen. Just like when I found fraud in Travis County, I took it to the state board live on TV, and they said there is fraud, but we're going to certify the Travis County election anyways.
Yep. Well, and I really don't know the answer except that each person in each precinct, wherever they're at, whatever state they're in, if they're in South Carolina right now, what are they going to do and how are they going to ensure that there's honesty, that my vote will be counted and be counted honestly? There has to be a mechanism to be able to do this. And there are several groups that's trying to create an online instantaneous reporting from each precinct anywhere in any state that's voting, so that it can be transparent, put up on a screen, and everybody that has a computer can see what the votes are as they come in.
Well, it is because of stuff like that and people on the ground that we knew about the fraud day one. People are like, oh, be quiet. Day after it's admitted it happened, and 2 weeks later they're just saying accept the fraud. I want to come back in one more segment with Wayne Paul, Ron Paul's brother, political activist, patriot in his own right. But if you could say one thing to your brother, Ron Paul, right now, just a shout out to him, what would that be, A? And B, if you've talked to your brother lately, you know, how's he doing?
Well, A, I would say to Ron, continue the voice that he's had for 30 years. He needs to reiterate zero taxes are fantastic. And people, all they have to do is look at history from 1835 to 1913. This country ran on legitimate constitutional taxes of import, export, and excise, and we were extremely successful. We had extreme amount of growth, and we had a beautiful country to live in, and we need to return to that.
You said it. I know we're going to get Ron Paul on in the next few weeks. He's out there really busting his butt, but have you talked to him lately, or has he been so busy you hadn't had time to talk to him, Wayne?
Well, I had an opportunity to talk to him this past week, but it was primarily on personal items as it relates to requirements of filing tax forms.
Okay, well, I don't want to get into that. I just wanted the inside baseball on.
No,
the family's got to be really proud of Ron.
Oh, absolutely. What he has done to awaken the American people and the number of people who support and work diligently for him every day.
It's amazing. He's Liberty's champion. Wayne, got a break. Stay there. Sorry to interrupt you. All right, it is our final segment with Wayne Paul, who's a very busy CPA in his own right and political activist exposing the unconstitutional IRS, joining us the middle of his workday here. We only got a few minutes left, but talking to him to finish that question, he says he's talked to Ron last weekend. He's doing great and super fired up. But you can see that on the campaign trail. Your brother really looks more happy and fired up than I've ever seen him. It's got to be satisfying to see how much he's having an effect waking people up, Wayne.
That's absolutely correct. I think the other thing that has made him comfortable and more restful is the fact that he's been able to travel from place to place differently than he did 4 years ago, having to use commercial airlines. He doesn't do that this time. Therefore, he's able to get more downtime and restful time, which is what he really needs.
Oh, the airport will beat the daylights out of you. And when he started flying private, the media made fun of it when all the other candidates do. I mean, we need him to be getting places faster and getting more rest. I mean, we need to. It's ridiculous that Liberty's champion, of course, should be flying around with all his staff. And I saw the news had to admit it costs less to fly the 10 or 15 people on a private jet than it does to even fly them commercial most times.
That is correct, besides the amount of time saving. You know, there's an airport 15 minutes from my brother's house. So he can still fly back home at midnight and be in bed before 12:30.
And the TSA doesn't get to grope him as well. I know he said that happens to him when he flies commercial.
Oh, yeah.
I want to play you a short clip of Karl Rove. It's unedited except for a Kentucky Derby clip at the end making a joke about Santorum popping into the lead from nowhere. But here's Karl Rove on Fox News. Listen to this, Wayne.
Romney is going to win the Iowa caucuses by 14 votes. How solid is your evidence?
From a pretty good, reliable source. They made the correction in Story County, which moved it from an 18-point margin for Santorum to a 4-vote margin for Santorum. Clinton County, you have the one outstanding precinct in the state, and that it will show an 18-vote victory in that precinct for Mitt Romney, which will give him a statewide victory of 14 votes over.
From out of nowhere, it's Rick Santorum.
So I don't understand. You're saying that they basically have come to an agreement as to what the vote's going to be in Clinton?
The person who's got the official piece of paper is missing. But the Romney and Santorum people who are monitoring it agree on what the number is. They apparently have rounded up the representatives of the camps who have agreed, yes, we were there, we know exactly what the vote total was, and we both agreed to what it was.
So, Karl Rove magically knew, this was pretty early in the evening that night, what the totals were, and now 2 weeks later it's an admitted fraud, just as our watchers said. Ron Paul clearly in every case was getting more votes, and now he's not even mentioned in this, Wayne. I mean, I go back to this. This is a big story.
Well, it is absolutely a big story, but again, I have to emphasize the fact that the people of Iowa are being shortchanged by those who are manipulating numbers and votes for somebody's eventual gain. And the people in Iowa ought to be livid on just hearing this stuff. They ought to take the Republican Party of the state of Iowa and kick them all out and start over again.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating.
Exactly. They're not even telling us what's going to go on the delegates. They say the election, the quote is, no winner declared, but they're going to say the winner Santorum. Very bizarre.
Yep.
No discussion of where the votes went. No discussion of redoing it. And I understand why the campaign's not making a bigger deal out of this, because it can be spun. They're sore losers, or it might...
Well, of course.
Or... Sorry, go ahead, Wayne.
No, and I think the important thing is the positive approach of saying, okay, that's fine, let's head on to New Hampshire and now South Carolina and then wherever, Florida or whatever is next. We'll take them one state at a time, and we'll get the people to support us, and eventually they're going to be forced to reckon with us one way or the other, and I think we'll find that out in the next 3 to 6 months. They're going to have to deal with the young people that support my brother, and they got to decide whether they want them in the Republican Party or they do not want to grow the Republican Party.
That's right.
And Alex, I live in a very small county.
Tell you what, stay there. Let's go to break and just do a few more minutes on the other side, Wayne. You've got more to say. I've been throwing in so many points. I want to hear what you have to say on the other side. Then we'll get into all the other news on internet censorship. There's something a lot bigger than SOPA out there. I'll tell you about it on the other side. Stay with us. Okay, political activist, patriot, Wayne Paul, brother of top presidential contender, the only conservative constitutionalist out there, Congressman Ron Paul. And again, we don't want there to be fraud, but I mean, clearly Ron Paul was the winner in Iowa. Clearly they've been attacking him, lying about him. And so understand